Welcome back. This is my Beta 95 or Umma95, and I've built it with a Hero 8 Black. This is a fully functioning Hero 8 Black. This is the one that I used. So yeah, I stripped it down. I might potentially do a video on stripping one down if that interests people, but we'll see. But I just want to run through the build basically. So this is the build so far. So we start with the Beta 95 frame, just the standard frame, and I've also got the Beta, I think they're 1106 4500 kV motors just there. So that's, if you were to buy a bind and fly, that's basically the motors that it comes with, and the F405 2-4S AOO toothpick stack in there. I've got the Cadex Vista, I've got the Crossfire, which I'm going to put a smaller antenna on, but that's all I had at the time. So obviously I looked for a while for a Hero 6, but the prices of them are through the roof really for how old they are, but they're very desirable for this reason. But I thought I'd do a Hero 8 version. I'm sure it's been done plenty of times before, but I've not seen that much about it online, so I'll run you through it. So this top plate is something that I've printed out with PETG. This top plate, I based it off something that I found on Thingiverse. So I printed a top plate off Thingiverse that didn't have these sidebars, and I've made a couple of changes to it because it didn't fit that well, but it gave me a good starting base to work off. And then basically the camera support here is off the normal kit. The dampeners are off the normal Umma95 kit, so they all worked. So I just printed them. They're all available on Thingiverse. So start with, I've got Cadex Vista in the back. You could probably see that I didn't have cable ties that would fit basically, so what I done was I joined the top and the bottom part together, and that way I didn't need the cable ties. My Vista cables tucked nicely down the sides, and my antenna for the nano receiver come down this side. And then it's basically exactly the same as the Hero 6, apart from the board is laid horizontally across this way from where the ribbon cable is. So I printed this bracket underneath to hold the back of the board. The concept is completely the same, it's just I had to sort of adapt some changes so that I could get it to fit. So this isn't the final version. As you can see, there's a gap here, but I have flown this and it's still pretty strong, but where the ribbon cable is, it was basically being a little bit twisted, and I didn't really like that. So what I done was printed it as normal, and I just cut that cross sectional out. But because I've put the sides on and the cross sort of member going through, which went on the original design, it seems to have held its rigidity quite well. So there, I will be redesigning this, and if people are interested in it, then I'll share the files once they're complete. But I can share the Vista file if you want that, and all the other files for the other stuff. So here is, that's anything that's dark purple is from the kit, the Umma kit. I'm working on one that comes further across, and it's more central. Unfortunately, the only way that I could think to get this GoPro lens central is to move the whole board over, but then the sort of centre of gravity would be way off. so that has to go to the side. But if you imagine your normal quad, it's probably about the same where the lens would usually be in comparison, so that seems to work well. Again, if I pull this off, usually on the lens you have these little plastic bits that then screw in to here. Now, the Hero 8 lens I found didn't fit very well, so I cut them off, and I cut the little plastic, sort of excess plastic off around the lens, and I put 2 holes through the top, there and there, so that because I couldn't fix it with screws, I've nipped it tight and cable tied it tight, and that lens isn't going anywhere. And then this is the ND filter. It's for camera butter filters. It's Albert Kim's version, which again I've adapted for the Hero 8, and this literally goes on the lens. I will probably attach it with a bit of glue or something, but I'm just trialing things at the minute. And the adaptations that I've made to this is that I've made it shorter in depth, so that there's because it doesn't go on so far, and then I've made this hole shorter because this was designed for a naked, or let's say naked, GoPro Lite with the TPU adapter. So I've made the hole smaller to fit on the actual lens, and I've made it shorter to make sure I don't get any of the TPU on show, but it fits quite snug. But I'll put a drop of glue on there just to ensure that it stays on there, and then the camera butter filters fit exactly the same as they would on the original version. So I've got it hardwired through a BEC off the LiPo, providing 5 volts, and then I haven't got any connectors. I've just left the cables really long. I don't plan to use this anywhere else, so I've ensured that if I remove these 2 screws, I can lift this top plate up enough to get to the board, and to get to the USB port and stuff. So to auto power it on, I've done the wire mod across from where the power button would be to ground, and then I've got a ground wire and a yellow wire, which is the record wire. So when you touch these together like that, it turns on record, and then it stops recording. I'm waiting for a tiny little sort of micro switch for that, and then what I'll do is make an adaptation to this top plate where a switch fits in the front that I can then fit a switch in, and that'll just sit in the front like that, so you can literally turn it on, press a button on the front to start recording and stop recording. But all in all, the concept is basically the same. It's just that I've not seen that many videos on the Hero 8 camera, so it was just something that when I built I thought I would share with everyone. But yeah, like I say, dampeners, this bottom cover, everything, all the darker purple stuff is all off the original kit, and then this top plate is something that I've taken partly from someone else, and then I've sort of redesigned most of it anyway, to get it to fit better, and I've still got some adjustments to do. I'm probably going to remake all the pink parts for the camera, just so that they look a bit more professional finish. But that's about it really. So if anyone wants the files when they're done, just drop in the comments, and then I'll link in a comment in the future all the links to the files, and if you want to see how I actually tore it down, then I can also do a video on that, or a build video. If you want to see a build video, I can strip it apart and do a build video on it, and build it back up. But what I'll do is I've only actually test flown it once. I use the GNB 550 4S. Flies really nice. I get about 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes on it. which actually I was quite pleased with. Don't get any hot motors or nothing like that. The footage comes out lovely, even if I'm not using any filters or nothing. Even though Real Steady, which I use, crops the footage a little bit, there's no TPU around visible in the lens, so that's sweet. But what I'll do is, once I've finished designing all the parts and making the changes to the bits and bobs, I will put the revised versions on Thingiverse so that you can just print the whole kit like I've done. And that's about it really. But what I'm going to do is just put a short clip in so that you can see the flight of it. It's literally, I've only test flown it once. I had like one battery. I lent some batteries out to someone, so I had one battery while I sorted out the camera. At the time, I filmed it in GoPro colours, all auto ISO, auto shutter speeds, so it doesn't deal with the light that great. But at that time, I hadn't printed the filter holder, so that is what it is. So I've still got some more tests to do, and then once the switch arrives, I'll put that on, and yeah, I'll put a list together of all the parts you need for a GoPro 8 version. And if you want to see a more in-depth strip down of it, then just leave a comment, and if it's wanted enough, then I'll go ahead and do that. But let's jump into the footage of it now.